The Morgan Report with David Morgan. Discover how to build and protect your wealth at themorganreport.com.
I'm David Morgan with the Morgan Report for the week ending 3 January 2025. Well, Happy New Year, everyone. And this will be short and sweet. Just finished literally the January issue of the Morgan Report. I'm on our Twitter feed at SilverGuru22. And silver did fairly well last year, better than it's done in years past. Slightly less than gold on a year-over-year basis. Both are up roughly 30%. The shares did underperform, although a couple of ours did beat the XAU and the HUI quite substantially. I'll be going through that for members probably next week. And I just want to point out that we do have a new speculation on this new issue that will come out momentarily once I get done with this video and upload it. We'll upload the report to the website for our premium members. What is interesting about this project, and by the way, we do visit almost every one of these speculative stocks. Not every case, but 80-90% of them we do. Anyway, Ted Butler just got back from the visit, wrote up the company. We like it, which speculation has said. But it's similar. It's a narrow vein system, which is usually high grade, but underground and most underground. And it's from a company's management, some of them that we've had success with in the past. It's a 20-cent stock right now, roughly. And we had one about that same price years ago that turned out to be a big winner, hoping for something similar this time, but it went from 20 cents to 12 bucks. Certainly not a Bitcoin type of move, but for a junior, it was quite substantive because it went from an exploration company to a top tier, cash rich, unhedged company. In fact, it still exists, and it was a stalwart in the silver industry. So will this company do that or not? Certainly we can't say it will, but we can say that it is. It's got a lot that's lining up, especially at this price level, and especially with silver being so undervalued. So enough of the sales pitch. A few other things I put up on the Twitter feed earlier. I call him the ghost buy. This is something you should read. It's really interesting what's going on with China and the silver market. Unless you're on Twitter or really delve into this market, you probably don't know a lot of these things. But he's someone that I follow, and I do have a DM with him, direct message from time to time. But very interesting insights into the silver market from a Chinese perspective. He writes or posts almost every day, as far as I know, and gives a lot of hard data on the Shanghai Gold Exchange, someone to pay attention to. Garrett Goggins talking about the gold miners' free cash flow margins. Really measure the mining industry by free cash flow. PE really doesn't work until it's near the top of the market. When we are topping, PE is something I do on the back of the envelope to determine whether or not something is overvalued or not. That's one way to do it. Another one that I like to talk about that I do in almost every other lecture that I give, and that is really gold's performance versus stocks. I mean, most people are totally enamored with stocks. Many are smart enough to just do an ETF, like a S&P 500 ETF. It takes the stock picking problem off your back and you just go with the index, and that's a good way to do it. But you can see if you go back to 2000, gold has actually kept pace with or outperformed the S&P 500, which most people are totally unaware of. A lot of people just have kind of a bias toward gold and or silver because of the mainstream press that, it's an asset that doesn't pay interest, it never goes anywhere, it's volatile, it's risky, it's all those things that we're told. When the actual truth is, look, don't think, just look. You don't have to think. You see what gold did, you see what the stock market did. You don't even have to think. It's right there in front of you. Something that Peter Spina posted I thought was quite interesting, talking about the insider sales, and they're massive. I mean, really, the stock market is so overvalued at this point. Whether or not it's going to continue higher remains to be determined. It could, certainly. Markets could stay overvalued for a very, very long time. I think we're past due on the stock market as far as valuations are concerned. Time-wise, no one really knows the future. However, a lot of these insiders are getting out, and they usually get out earlier than the fast public, because the public is usually the last to get the memo, and when they start to sell, the market's going down. So keep that in mind. If you're overweighted stocks, I would just ask to reconsider that position and maybe take something off the table. I'm going to leave it there for this year. I just want to reach out to everyone and wish them happiness and health in the new year. And it should be an interesting year for the markets, especially with a new administration where many people don't know. I'm not sure they know exactly what's going to take place with their changes and how that will affect the markets going forward. This is David Morgan from the Morgan Report signing out for the first issue of this podcast for 2025.